Hey everybody, welcome back to the Headway Podcast. I'm Shane, your host, and joining me is co-host Rachel.
Hey everyone! Last time we delved into the challenges of living with changes in your memory. Today we're navigating the complex landscape of fatigue and sleep.
Sleep is a fundamental aspect of our well-being, yet many of us struggle with fatigue and disrupted sleep patterns. Today we're joined by individuals who have experienced the impact of fatigue and sleep disturbances, and are here to share their journeys and insights.
Our guests today have unique perspectives on living with fatigue and managing sleep difficulties. Let's dive into their experiences and gather valuable insights.
Hey, I'm Peter Kavanagh, and I sustained a brain injury after an assault 17 years ago, which is kind of crazy. My main disabilities initially were unable to move my right side. I lost my speech, my short-term memory was affected, my visually impaired on my right side. Now my main disabilities are I have a right limp when I walk, but it doesn't really affect me too much. My short-term memory is affected, so like remembering lists or names or numbers can be tricky. I'm unable to drive because my peripheral vision never kind of recovered fully. And then I have some concentration issues, like when I'm talking to my wife, like she might ask her to repeat herself. So that's me.
My name is Des Morel. I have had many brain injury events dating back to a tumour, followed by radiation treatment and a rare reaction to that, which manifested itself in 2022. I suffer from speech and language issues, similarly to the previous speaker. I also have peripheral vision issues, which means I can't drive, and I have to be very aware of people coming across me on the right side. I also struggle with speech and language and short-term memory.
Hello, my name is John. I had my first accident car crash about under 16 years ago. And then I had a second fall, I had a second brain injury about 5 years ago. I slipped on back ice at a wedding. I get very fatigued. I said, I'm lucky in a way where I look physically fine, but people with a brain injury, it's your brain, like people don't understand how it affects you, so that's me.
Our guests today have unique perspectives on living with fatigue and managing sleep difficulties. Let's dive into their experiences and gather valuable insights.
Now we have Jonathan and his topic, understanding fatigue and sleep disorders.
Hello, my name is John. How to explain understanding fatigue? Well, I'm someone with two brain injuries, so for people to understand fatigue with a brain injury, like some people look at it and say he's a lazy stack of potatoes, like why is he just not doing anything? But if you have a brain injury, like, or any difficulty where you need to have a rest, like I do go off into a room and lie down for an hour, like, and I know my kids and my son as well, he thinks I'm a lazy person. But over time to get to understand it, like, and there's people out there that want to go back to work and like they feel embarrassed going back into work, and they feel like their colleagues are looking, why is he so lazy? Why does he need to rest? Like, why does he get extra time to rest? Like, the biggest problem in this country is nobody really understands the brain injury unless you work with the brain doctor or family members. Other than that, there's not much out there. So fatigue, it could be anything, walking down the road and you take a breath and there's someone with you who the same age as you, but they would be ahead of you all the time. They're looking back, like, so an awful lot of people who know me understand it, but there's other people out there who don't understand the brain injury. So it can be difficult at times.
Can I just make one comment there, John? I think from a fatigue perspective, people understand fatigue to be physically tired, but it's equally mentally tired and the effect that has on you. So it's draining for you listening to people talking. It's draining for you being in strange environments, anything that works the brain or where the brain needs to concentrate. So it's not just you go out and do a 5K run or you go out and walk for a long period of time and you feel tired after. It's very, what other people would find easy activities, work and stress the brain.
And I've come to understand through Headways that your brain, with a brain injury, your brain is working extra hard to how your brain was damaged, so find alternate routes to get to that part of the brain to activate it. So that's why I always find my brain is only half charged, so that's why I do take some rest to charge the batteries. it can be embarrassing for me sometimes having to go off and rest, or being in a group of people where I kind of shut down. I kind of go, what's wrong with him? Like, that's just the brain shutting down and charging itself back up. But for me, it took a long time to get to a stage where I feel comfortable with it. And if it bothers anybody, I really don't give a hoot what they think. But for other people out there, it can be daunting for them.
And now we have Peter and his topic, coping strategies for better sleep.
Hey, thanks, Rachel. So my main issue relating to sleep while I was recovering was simply I could never get enough sleep. And no matter how many hours I got fatigued very quickly, which is a trademark for people post a brain injury. Another part of always being fatigued may have been due to me being a teenager at the time, because normal teenagers even could sleep for days on end. On the other hand, being a teenager at the time meant I never would admit to myself that I was tired, no matter what my mum would say, like, early night now, Peter. It used to infuriate me. So I was like, no, I'm not tired. But now, having a son myself, I know the absolute bliss you have when your son goes to bed, so you can have a few minutes to breathe after your son has caused so much chaos in the house all day. So I don't blame my mum for giving me the hints back in the day to go to bed early. I luckily didn't have much of an issue of actually falling asleep or sleeping well, but I still have a few strategies that I think could improve sleep for anyone listening out there. The main strategy I would say is reduce your stress levels wherever possible. I personally had held a lot of stress throughout secondary school while I was struggling to come to terms with my new life post my brain injury. I particularly struggled socializing with peers and keeping up with my schoolwork. I was in school due to my new limitations. This put huge stress on me, which definitely impaired my sleep throughout these turbulent years. So my first strategy, I would say, to help improve sleep would be give yourself a break. If you have put everything into the day but still feel like you're way behind, just take a breather. Think about what you have achieved already and say, I've done my best today, and rest. If a person listening to these is in the depth of the secondary school and stressing to the nines about exams, etc., just take a breather. Look at what you have achieved and tell yourself, I've done my best today, and close the books and let yourself rest. And do something you enjoy. No matter what happens in the secondary school, it will never dictate how your life will turn out. The Leaving Cert is not the be-all, end-all of your life. Doing this not only can be beneficial for school goers, but for people at any stage of their life, such as doing household chores and running around like a headless chicken. Most things can be put off for another day to let yourself relax. I try to do these myself, as I tend to be, I stick to a rigid schedule to get everything done. But as my wife always says, the clothes, dishes, etc. can be left and house won't implode. I think being in the compassion focused therapy group recently has made it much easier for me to recognize when I've reached my limit and able to turn off my brain, my mind, and relax and be happy with what I have already achieved. I think if a person listening is struggling with their sleep post a brain injury, I think implementing this strategy of giving themselves a break could drastically improve their sleep due to having less stress on their mind. A few other strategies I would suggest is just put on a pair of headphones, put on an album, close the eyes, and just relax and just tune everything else out. This may be particularly beneficial in the evening as you're trying to wind down for the night, as it again goes back to reducing your stress and hopefully improving your sleep. My other strategy will be investing in meditation or yoga techniques to again try to reduce your stress and improve your sleep. And finally, I would say going back to any teenager, because it was the teenage years when I was really struggling, and I feel for any teenager, even without a brain injury, but particularly with a brain injury. I would like to particularly say, like, listen to this, try these techniques. They may feel weird or not cool, but you should just try them. When I was a teen and was recovering, I was very rebellious to any techniques to help me with anything, not only sleep post my brain injury. As for a lot of time, I was like, I don't have a brain injury, and I was in complete denial. And my parents and my teacher would probably be nagging me as, oh, you should try this, that, and the other. And I was like, no, I'm fine. But just try it. And in the end, it could be a game changer for you, especially for your sleep or for life in general. Anyway, your cool friends never need to know if you're a master in meditation.
And now we have Des and his topic, the impact of fatigue on daily life.
So the first thing I'd like to say on that topic is describe what my daily life was beforehand and what I needed to do to change some of the negatives to that, to limit their impacts on me in a negative way. So to do that, I needed to identify what the triggers were. So I had a couple of brain injuries many, many years ago. I went back to employment very, very quickly after the events that happened. So probably within a time frame of 6 weeks. I remember the second time going back, literally sitting in the toilet every couple of hours, just with a view to wasting some time, then getting up and getting a drink, then going over and talking to somebody, but literally doing anything other than work at work because I just wasn't able. I just physically wasn't able. And I had to just get to the end of the day and then just keep going. So I had a few events, follow-on events in relation to, connected to what happened to me in my original events in 2022. Basically what was identified probably as my triggers in terms of events happening to me, both in the past and in 2022, and potentially going forward, because I have a quite unique condition. I've been told it probably won't happen, but given it's so unique, nobody, like with anybody, and you could say this about anything, you could walk out in front of a bus and have an event, right? But I suppose my chances are higher than most. So for me, I have to take actions to reduce the potential of those events happening to me. Really, the triggers for me are stress, and the other trigger would be tiredness. So for both of them, I need to try and manage them. Stress is not something you can eliminate from your life, but you can certainly keep yourself away from scenarios where you put yourself under stress. So with that in mind, I've certainly identified that a work environment in general can elevate that. So I need to get myself that bit stronger and a bit more on the level before I can put myself back in that environment. From a fatigue perspective, what I have done to manage and cope with that is I keep my day as structured as possible and the body likes routine. It likes you doing the same things at the same times every day. So I take a lot of medication. So I try to keep the medication in my system at the same times every day. I would, if I'm doing something on a Monday, which is quite involved from my perspective in terms of what it involves, I would not do anything on a Tuesday. Then I would do something on a Wednesday. I wouldn't do something on a Thursday, so on and so forth. From my perspective, I would have a whiteboard. I would schedule my week, identify what appointments and events I had on. On the days that I had nothing on, I would keep them free and use them as down days. I know that at weekends my kids play sport. They both play soccer and Gaelic. I would not go to every match. I would go to one of the boys' matches on Saturday, and I would go to the other boys' match on the Sunday. So I'm not showing favouritism, and everybody's kept happy and feels loved and so on and so forth. As part of that coping, I would be rigorous around getting up in the morning, going to the school bus. I would then do my chores or whatever needed to be done. At a set time of the day, I would take a nap, generally around pre-school time or returning from school time. I would make the dinner. I would be there to do the homework if needed. And then from kind of mid to late afternoon, I would sit down for the rest of the day and watch TV. Doesn't have to be anything particularly engaging in terms of requiring a huge amount of attention. And it's probably something I can watch or take in without necessarily looking at the screen, so I can kind of listen to it. I love watching the sunset, which at this time of the year, I would leave the blinds high, I would look out at the sunset, and then I would pull down. Again, in terms of a routine for the body, I would generally go to bed relatively around the same time. I don't have any trouble sleeping. Generally not take liquids after a certain time, so that doesn't trigger me needing to go up and use the bathroom in the middle of the night and so on and so forth. So all sounds relatively straightforward. It's all about routine, nothing particularly complex, but being regulated.
As we wrap up this discussion, let's hear a final sentence from our guests.
So yeah, advice I'd just say, to conclude, just give yourself a break. Look at what you've achieved. Rome wasn't built in a day, so relax your mind and let the stress drift away.
Slow down, be yourself, don't be embarrassed that if you're fatigued. If you're a person that likes to do everything at once, and just get it all done together, just do it if that makes you happy. And then after that, you can rest, or somebody else might just want to take the time to do it. There's no right answer. There's no right answer for any of this. Everybody has to make the decision how they want to control their fatigue, and only they can find out. We're just giving you some tips and ideas, but at the end of the day, you're the only person who can take control of your fatigue. So I hope this helps you at least a little bit.
I would say give yourself a break, be positive, surround yourself with positive people, and don't beat yourself up about what you didn't achieve.
And on that note, as you said there, from a TV ad, have a break, have a kicker.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode, fatigue and sleep. It really is such a profound topic. What do you think, Rachel?
Absolutely, Shane. A big thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their stories and shedding light on the journey of managing fatigue and sleep.
And of course, thank you to our listeners for joining us on this episode. Your support means the world to us.
If you found today's episode resonating with you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We have more compelling topics lined up for future episodes.
Connect with us on social media to share your thoughts, any questions and experiences related to fatigue and sleep.
Join us next week as we tackle another important topic: anger, irritability and mood swings. Until then, take care, get some rest and keep moving forward with Headway.